I was pulling up last time we got together, the plays that work. I was just curious, I was just gonna take a little rundown here. And just on things that, since we've met last. Done a video? Anybody done a video?
Joe did one this morning, Brent. It's really good.
I haven't seen his one this
It's
morning.
very good.
Okay. Real estate review? Anybody? Yeah, no. Daily note cards? Anyone? Comments on Fred's Facebook, Instagram posts?
I did that.
Okay. Cover letters for offers? Anybody there? No?
Nope.
Okay. And then we were talking about tracking and kind of blending in what we were talking about with Jose's deal last week. I know a lot of you have worked on that whole project of really breaking down, because I think Jose did a good job of breaking down, what amount of time do you need in a day to get money-making things done? And we kind of broke that out, because there's other things that happen, where you're going on a meeting for buyer consults or listing presentations or whatever that is. But then we broke out the other stuff of working on your business. And so we talked about everybody kind of taking themselves aside and really figuring out what that is in their world, their process, their system. So, and I've talked to most of you. I think most of you really actually got on that and have made some headway and have used your accountability partners too. So how do you guys feel about that? Working through that. Has it freed your mind any?
My mind is free,
Yeah,
but I haven't stuck to it.
yeah.
I mean, like I had it on my schedule and then, I just kind of threw a few curves and then
Yeah.
now I'm playing catch up.
Well, and I think the thing about that is that you're starting, I think anytime you start a new plan, a new habit, it's not comfortable because you're comfortable with whatever you're doing. So I think it takes everything that is out there. They always go back to 3 weeks. And if you can get started in something for 3 weeks, that becomes a little bit more familiar than what you're doing because it gets a little bit further away. So and I think that goes for anything. I mean, it goes for if you're trying to do a new strategy on your business, or you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to do anything. 3 weeks is kind of a barometer of, if I can get to 3 weeks, then I'm starting to step into something that feels a little bit more familiar than not familiar. But clearly the hardest time of doing anything new is going to be the very first step. That old saying, day one or one day. that's a big one. Day one or one day. And we've got to be day one people. And this is one of the things I was wanting to talk about today, because I was looking at a lot of different things. I guess it was Monday and a little bit yesterday on, what I was going to talk about subject wise. But I think one of the things that, and I think, Kay, you kind of led into it. Do you guys ever find yourself in a thing where you're overthinking? Yeah, easily. We all overthink. Well, one of the things I was here, because Tom Ferry's got this thing that he does on Mondays, it's like a quick, I don't know if it's even a minute long, but he just hits something really fast. And so he was saying, okay, here's something. He said, if we know that all the action people are the ones that are winning, why are we overthinking everything so much? Because action is actually good. So he said, here's a hack. Here's a hack for you. And I liked this. So when you find yourself in a challenging situation, which can turn into being fearful, I mean, we can say that. If you fall into a situation that's challenging or fearful, what are we thinking when we are overthinking that? So he said, here's three things you can do to hack it that'll get you past it, that helps you get past it. Some people might not get past it, but here's the thing. 95% of the things that are going on in your mind, the craziness of our mind aren't gonna happen. So let's just put that aside. So that's the stuff that's given us paralysis. That 95% of the stuff that's never gonna happen, we're sinking ourselves on a ship that isn't going anywhere because it's not gonna happen. Okay, so here's what we need to think about. Number one, what's the worst possible outcome? What's the very worst possible? Could I die? No, probably not. I'm not gonna die on this hill. I'm not gonna die. So that's the worst possible outcome of whatever that is. Go ahead and live with that. Say, okay, that's the worst possible outcome. If I do this or make this call or do this luxury listing or whatever that is in the world, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? I'm not gonna die, but what's the very worst possible thing? Okay, then the second thing is, what's the most likely thing that could happen? So you can kind of dance around that. I mean, you can play that scenario. What could most likely, not the craziness of I'm gonna die, but what can most likely happen? And then the third thing is, what's the best outcome if I take this action? What could I be dancing around the bar tonight with a drink thinking I took this action and it worked? Okay, so he said the reason why that's really good to do is that the craziness, if you bring out the craziness to the top, then you're like, that's probably, I was being crazy. And then then you say, okay, most likely I can deal with that. And then if it's the best outcome, I love that. So you're really dealing with 2 out of the 3 things that says, I'm gonna go ahead and take action. Because I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna become less of me. So these 2 out of the 3 things I can work with. So I kind of like that, because I think you do have to trick your mind. You really do. I think you always have to trick your mind, even if we're really good at it, even if we're on a real roll, we still get paralysis. You know, you could have the best month you've ever had, and you start the month over and your confidence goes down to your ankles and you don't know why. It's just that you somehow hit that magical wall of paralysis. You got to shake yourself off of it, because action is the thing that actually helps you get out of that. And it's the most unlikely thing that you want to do when you're in a paralysis. Okay, so Larry's on there. Okay, so I want to go into one of the things that helps with taking action. And this is the things we're going to cover today. 4 things to know, to do now that create clarity and action. Clarity gives you focus to take action, fuels your system and processes. So once you get one, hey Larry, how you doing?
Good.
Then there's 3 things to do when you're facing the fear, which I just talked about. And then there's 4 things to do now that create clarity and action. So let's go into the 4 things to do right now that help you create clarity and action. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out at you guys here. I guess, do we need to put that slide up or not? Or I can just talk through it. You want to put the slide up?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's do it. You want to put the
I
slide
want
up?
the slide.
Okay, we're gonna put the slide
I
up. Kristen made the slide. Let's
I want
use
to
it.
show and tell, Brent.
Okay, let's do it. We'll go to the next one here. Page 2, right there. Boom.
I'm gonna play it though.
Oh,
What's it going? What?
oh,
Slideshow.
there we are. And
So,
boom. There we are. Okay. You guys ready? All right, here we go. Get clear on your benchmarks and numbers. What's that? What are we talking about? What does that mean? Is that gibberish, or like, really, what does it mean?
You know what you want, your goals, your focus.
Yeah. Can you guys hear Kay on that?
I said.
Kay's exactly right. You want to get clear on your numbers and your benchmarks is, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? But most importantly, the number that I think is most important when you get clear on your benchmarks and numbers is, how many deals do I need, or how many appointments do I need? Think about this. how many appointments do I need a month to get to my number? That's the real getting down in the dirt number you want. Because we know what our number is of how many deals we want to do, right? Because you kind of have an idea. I want to grow 25% more than I did last year. I want to do 50% more, whatever that is. But the real number that you need to do, and this is, I want to kind of hover around this for a second. How many appointments do I need to get to that number in a month? So if I'm trying to get a couple of transactions in a month, how many appointments do I need? And the reason why I think that's important is that everything that you do, you think of it as, will that give me an appointment? Will that give me an appointment? Will that give me an appointment? To me, that's better for your mind to be thinking than, I just got to do this marketing. This damn calling around these people in my database. I don't even want to talk to them. But if you're thinking about, if I do this, that gets me closer to my 6 appointments. If I go to this networking event, could I get an appointment? So I think if you wire your mind into thinking appointments, once you get to a benchmark number, and for any of those who want to do it with me, I know all the newer people have done this with me, where you actually reverse engineer how many people you need to talk to, and then you get it down to how many a day. It usually ends up to be like 7 people is really what your day usually hovers around, about 7 people. And that's not saying that you're going to talk and get on the phone with 7 people. That means that you are reaching and touching 7 people. It could be that you sent them a personal note, or you commented on Facebook, or you texted them, or whatever that case is. But that touch of 7 to 10 is a number that you can probably live with. But you want to get to the idea of, why am I doing this? Will I get an appointment? Can I get an appointment with this activity? If I can't get an appointment with this activity, why am I doing that activity? Because it means that I'm doing myself a favor stepping out of what I do to make money. And so there might be a good reason for that. I mean, we live lives. So, I mean, it could be that you've got to be somewhere or do something, but you know that that's not going to get you an appointment. So it's good to compartmentalize and understand that benchmark, and knowing, because really what we're talking about is minutes and hours in a day, right? And that's one of the things we were getting down to last time with Jose is that you have so many hours in a day and everybody has the same amount of hours. So it's not like Lynn gets more hours than Kay. We all have the same thing. It's just however you use it is going to be, and then how you use that is going to be however good or bad or winning or losing your business does. So, and then it says, once you create your benchmarks and your numbers and whatever that how many appointments do I need a month to get to my number, then you want to measure that, and you want to track that, and you want to see what your conversion rates are on that. We've talked about that. So a custom system, one of the things I was looking at, and I want to share this with you guys because Kristen walked out of here, so I'm going to go rogue.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
There
I'm gonna go rogue here. You guys ready? Okay. Talking about a system, talking about, thinking of appointments per day. We ran a cost this, and I think it's a system. Not saying it has to be your system, but you can implement pieces of this system. So this is 7 ideas to increase your business daily. And I like systems. So this is something you could try out daily. Call at least 2 people in your sphere of influence every day. Send 1 unsolicited, we call them real estate reviews each day. And that's just basically, reaching out to somebody, and it can be in your database, and you are getting in touch with them and giving them information that they're probably in this market very interested in. Where do I fit into this market? Just post on social media at least once a day, add people, and I've got something for that. For those who say that's too many times, or I don't know what I'd post. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. Send handwritten thank you notes daily. Lynn, is that a good idea?
Absolutely.
I know Lynn and Carol and some other people do that,
It's so easy.
but it's a system. It's a system to do.
Yeah.
And then this is called 2 or more people on your next 10 list. This is taken from somebody who has people that they're trying to reach out to, and so they create a list that they'd like to talk to. So they use that as a way to say, I'm going to call 1 or 2 people that I don't know, but I'd like to know. And then start your day off right. We always talk about the fact that if you start a good day with a good system, whether that's waking up and reading something, exercising, having breakfast, whatever that is, having a consistent way of doing it. If you would do that for 3 weeks, you could probably do something pretty, good with your business. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that was something somebody was throwing out there that was having a lot of success with. And they've been doing it for 6 months, and they started getting more business, but got more people in their database. Okay. So let's go back to when you say you don't have anything to put on your social media. Here's some ideas. And some of you stay in your lane, and that's great. Like Joe with Joe's Home Hacks. Sean with your and Kay, you've got your deal with the recipe deal. But here's some things that you can use. And the reason I'm going to bring this up is some of these things you can use over and over again. Okay, inspirational quotes, you can pull those from anywhere. A quick tip of the day, that's like, somebody was asking you a question and you thought, I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. Favorite hacks and tools. They're a dime a dozen. Tutorials. Here's one. Let me give you an example on an evergreen. Something you can use over and over again. What if you had in your toolbox the difference between pre-approved and pre-qualified? So you don't use it every day, but you could use it every month or every quarter. Just do it and save it, and you're building content in your library. Just easy things like that. Things that you can just have that. Let me give you another example on something to simplify why I'm thinking about that. So when you're talking about, we go back to the top here on how to simplify your world, get clear on your benchmarks. Some things you could automate. For example, and okay, you had a deal where actually the mortgage people sent a video, right, to your people, and they really liked it.
Yes.
Okay. What if you did this? What if you know that every single time that your people go to contract, that you're going to tell them what their next steps are, right? Here's what's going to happen next, all the way to the finish line. What if you already had that made? And so that was one of the things that was automated, and you just sent that out. Hey, it's Kay. Really excited that we've got to this step. Let me tell you what the next steps are.
Great idea.
And they'd like that.
And calendar.
They'd like it, and it would just happen every time. It's a system that you don't even have to think about, but you know that you're going to use every time. So if you just make one, you won't miss it. This is like when we talked about before, do it by design, not by memory. That's one of those things, if you just take the time to do it, all you gotta do is punch the button and people will say, oh, wow, Kay's really on top of it. Because it's just automated. Okay. Okay, let's go to use your database the right way. Okay. What's that mean? Use it the right way. Is there a wrong way? Yeah, no. All right, I'm gonna throw one out at you here. What if you dug really deep into your database? And by digging deep, you actually went in and found the people who really like you. They're your avid fans. They're the ones that Kay can't do anything wrong. Neil is the best person who's ever existed in the life of all people. We love Neil. So I guarantee you that there are people in your database that are like that, but you're treating them like everybody else. They just get the same treatment as the other 100, 200, 300, 400,000 people in your database. Okay. The reason why you want to spend a little bit of time digging down deep on your database, you need to carve out your avid fans because those people actually do need special attention. Those are the ones where you actually do want to do the drop by, take them to lunch, you know, whatever things that they like, give them tickets to whatever. Those people who are part of, basically, you need to think of a part of your business. They actually are going to help you get more business because they think so much of you, they'll refer you business. So take your database and use it differently than you've been using it by going straight down. So it's almost like shrinking your world a little bit to get more clear. Actually find them, label them, badge them, and start treating them differently than everybody else. I think that makes a difference because we're not going to ignore these people over here, right? Those people, we're trying to get them to become our avid fans. And we're going to give them the drip campaigns and we're going to give them the stuff that we do. But hey, good luck with that, Joe. And congratulations on that. Joe's got his closing going with his son today, and it's his first home. And that's really good stuff.
Sorry,
Yeah.
didn't mean to stop you, but I got a
Oh,
bug.
no, it's good stuff, Joe, and proud of what you're doing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me go back to where I've scrambled myself there. Does that make sense to you guys on doing your database a little bit differently? Instead of just saying, this is my database. This is my database. Instead of, I'm going to go deep into this and I'm going to get deep into these people that really like me and I'm going to treat them differently. I'm going to actually give them more attention because if I give them more attention, again, we're talking about time. If those people are more likely to give you leads because they like you so much or give you new business, then we need to actually treat them differently. And that takes a little bit of time. That's not fun to dig into your database, but if you create an A and a B, these are your A people and these are your B people, it's important, I think. And I think most of you have ways to go in there with your CRM to tag those people, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's just a task to get after. Okay. One thing that we don't talk about a lot, but I wanted to bring up today because I think it helps getting clear, is the idea to focus on your finances. And I ran across something the other day. I've been like a Jared James avid fan. And he was talking about he's not any good at that. Never has been. And he's grown this gigantic company. And he never really even knew how much he was making or how much he was doing. But there is this company, and he suggested it, and he went on his computer, like sharing the screen like we are now. And what they can do is, it's called Upwork. And you can go into Upwork and it's, say you want a bookkeeper. And let's say you're saying, I just want 2 days a week and I just want them to keep my books, and they can do it through QuickBooks or whatever you want them to do. But, and you can name your price too, because there's people that are international as opposed to the United States that are cheaper. But check this out, because I went and checked it out today before we got on. It's not just bookkeeping. You can job out for a lot of different things. But I thought it was really interesting because these people can give you a monthly profit and loss. They can give you a monthly balance sheet. They can tell you where all your expenses are that you're doing in your business. So the reason I bring it up is because we don't talk about that very much, but we kind of need to talk about it a little bit because we are in business for ourselves. And when you're in business for yourself, if you know exactly where you're spending your dollars and then how many dollars you have left over, to enjoy yourself or to put them back into the business, you can actually name your price. Say, I want to spend $20 a week on a bookkeeper because they're going to use, $20 an hour, and you need 2 hours of their work. So anyway, check it out. It's called Upwork, and it's easy to sign up for, and you can see once you get in there. I went ahead and just signed up and went through the whole thing just to see how it worked. And it took me probably 2 to 4 minutes. And it got to the point where I could post. I didn't do that, but you could post and say, I need a bookkeeper for, 2 hours a week for, $20 an hour. And okay, here's another thing, talking about hours in a day. Do you know what saves you 8 to 12 hours if you have this person as opposed to not having it? It saves you 8 to 12 hours per transaction.
Transaction coordinator.
Yep. Yeah, my feeling on that is almost everybody should have a transaction coordinator. And the reason I say that is I'm saying even if you're really, 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 really unbelievably good at paperwork, that's not the thing that's going to make you money. And the only time you pay a transaction coordinator is when?
When you close.
So you're not paying them all the time. You're paying them when you need them to do your work, and it's coming out of the work that you did. So if I was going to be a big time coach, telling people what to do, I would say, I would think everybody needs a transaction coordinator, because you could use those 8 to 12 hours of that transaction and push it straight towards selling and marketing. I mean, straight towards it. And if you get more closings, then that transaction coordinator is paid. So I'm just saying,
Right.
thinking of things to do that keep you in your world of clarity, focus, action. That gives you a lot more time to focus on those things that make you money. And I'm saying, even if you're really good at paperwork, it's not going to make you money. It's just a thing you got to do. And so it's something to think about. Okay. We talked about building your content library. Oh, and one of the things that I kind of went over here, forgot. I have seen, because one of the things here was behind the scenes. I do think that it's kind of interesting when those agents will do things that you see, like the day in the life type thing. Those are kind of interesting because it's kind of like a reality series type thing. So, and there's a lot of those. Anybody who wants to do that type of thing, you can get on and look and see what it looks like. But only reason I'm bringing this up, I'm not shoving anybody in and saying you got to do videos. I'm just saying, if you want to do videos, here's some ideas, and we'll send those out to you on doing it. Okay, I want to give this one and highlight this because I think this is fun. And I want somebody to try this. Which one did I share? That one? Okay. All right.
Check you out, getting all this
Let
stuff.
me go. Okay. All right. I like this one. I'm gonna share this with you. I'd love for the next time we have business growth, somebody to have done this one. Because this is a Jared James tip, and this is one of the things that he did a while back when he was still in the world of conquering the world in real estate, that he had tremendous success with. Okay. So Jared James, what he would do is he'd go, whatever you all have your favorite place, your favorite neighborhood, your farm area. And all those places have restaurants in them. All of them have restaurants in them. So this is what you do. Go to your local restaurant. Let's just say it's Bob's Deli. And you interview Bob about either his new menu item or his fan favorite. Bob would be much appreciated to be able to do that because he wants people to come to eat at his place. So you just do it with your phone. Jared James, I'm watching him, and he's saying, he just walks in and he says, hey, I've got Bob here from Bob's Deli, and we're talking about his favorite sandwiches and the new one this week. Bob, And Bob's all, and you're in the kitchen and doing the deal. And then Bob says, and by the way, I'm offering a $50 gift certificate. If it's a nicer restaurant, maybe it's $100. And we're gonna have a drawing. And so then you turn it back around and you say, hey, we're gonna do a drawing, and all you gotta do is like, comment, and share this video. Like, comment, and share are huge. Everybody, like, comment, and share is what you want in the world of social media. Like, comment, share. So what Jared James says, once he started doing this, he had people within his world contact him because they were getting and seeing the videos that he was doing for the other restaurants. It's super easy. And if you have people that you don't know, it's a great way to meet them. And it's twofold. One is that if you didn't know Bob from Bob's Deli, now you do, and now he knows you as a real estate agent who is promoting his business. So he's going to say, if somebody says, hey, Bob, do you know anybody who can know about the market and help me with my house? Yeah, I know Kay. So that's a good thing. And the second thing is getting more people to like, comment, and share is gigantic. And I'm not saying that you can only do this with restaurants, you can do it with other things, but restaurants is easy, really easy. You can do it with coffee shops, you can do it with whatever, but, and he said almost always, it wasn't even like he had to talk to the person in to give him the gift certificate. That was just, they were just happy to be a part of it. Because he was thinking he was gonna foot traffic. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's a good idea. I was just thinking all the car stuff I've had going on the last couple of days, and I'm paying them to advertise for them, but that's okay, because they do a great job.
They do a good job.
It's worth it to me because I know they're gonna take care of people that, that
Yeah.
I like, so.
Right,
Yeah, I can see, like a car place offering a free oil change or something like that.
Sure.
To anybody that likes or shares it.
absolutely. And then all those likes, shares, and that just helps you grow your world.
Right.
What do you guys think, Neil, Sean?
Lynn, what was that event we went to a couple weeks ago with the Remax agents, and that one agent bought everybody lunch at that restaurant? Remember that?
Oh, they did the pizzas or something? Or-
Yeah, the pizzas.
Oh,
You
yeah,
could,
he
That
gave
was
out free
cute.
pizzas.
Yeah.
you could kind of
Oh, that
combine
was a free
that
pizza guy.
with this
Cute.
idea. I think
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, cute.
Say, everybody come on down to Bob's. I'll buy for the first, 50 people lunch or 20 people lunch or something like that.
That's a whole nother thing, Neil. I mean, there's a lot of different things, and I think, Lynn, you brought up something that was basically making a comparison. Someone had sent out a lot of postcards that really didn't have any call to action or anything to it. And Lynn's comment was, first you want to put a call to action to it, but what if you would have done those dollars like you're saying, Neil, and taken like 20 people out to lunch? So,
And you could have spent $20 a person
yeah,
and still been ahead, and you would have had that.
and still would have had you would have had that one-on-one
Right.
connection, yeah.
And they say, thank you for buying my lunch today, Brent.
Mhm.
And they say, well, if there's anything I can ever do for you, let me, you know what, by the way, there is something you could do for me. If anybody you know.
Yes, for the
something, just-
business.
Just say, hey, if you know someone that's thinking about buying or selling, would you mind referring me? That would be the best thank you ever.
Okay, so this goes back to shrinking your world and digging deep into your database. So you just pick your brain all day long and like, how am I going to get in touch with all these thousands of people? But what if the first step you took was going deep into the avid fans and getting in touch with all of them? What if that was the first step? Because there's nothing wrong with doing the other. Obviously, you want to grow your whole sphere of people, but what if your first step is to go deep into your avid fans and make really good, solid contact with what Lynn was talking about here, that they know, hey, I kind of hadn't been around Kay in a while, but I'm so glad she asked me to lunch and we got to connect again with the kids and whatever else. And all of a sudden that you just put fuel in that tank for a while. For an avid fan of yours, it's just, you haven't had time to reach out to them and now you're taking them to lunch. these are basic things, but what the main overall thing I was wanting to get to today is not to overthink things. Clarity is golden because clarity gives you action, and action wins. So overthinking things and believing 95% of it probably doesn't happen. How can you get clear to get focused? And then your goal is to take action. Action is your winning formula. And I know some people are perfectionists, and that's great because that means that you are so focused on being good at it. But as we all know, in this business, you don't have to be perfect. You got to be good. You got to be good. But action gets you out in front of a lot more opportunities than not. That's the real magic formula. And the other thing, the other big piece that I wanted you to get to today, if you don't have a benchmark where you're comfortable with your numbers, try to get there. Because I think beyond anything, how many appointments do I need to get to what I need in this month? If you think just that, that's going to help you do all the other things. That will give you your why for everything that you're doing. And it also will kick things out if whatever you're doing doesn't return to an appointment.
That Richard Robbins thing that we did like early in the year, it's that, you know, where you can put in your numbers of where you want to go, and then it breaks it out by like how many listing appointments you want to do, how many show.
Yeah, because you can break it down to buyers and listers.
Right, and it kind of does it for you, because it's like one of those things where it doesn't just divide by 12 and this is what you have to do every month, because that's not totally accurate, because some months are going to be heavier than others.
Sure.
Or whatever. So that might be, that's the one that I was talking about wanting to get back to, because
That's a good one. And if anybody wants that, we have that from Kay. And if I remember right, Kay, I think I'm right about this, because the one I saw that Derek James was using the other day, you really just put the numbers in and it calculates. It
Yes.
calculates.
Yeah.
That's what you guys want. You don't want to turn into math wizards. You just want the thing so it calculates and you end up at that number. So if anybody wants that, we'll send that back. Yeah, Sean, okay.
I think Kristen redid it with, you know, Remax stuff.
She
on it
did.
and stuff.
Anybody else want that to, Larry? Okay. And I think, Neil, you've already created something that is your own world, right, with that?
With
Neil,
which part?
haven't you created a formula deal that you have on a spreadsheet or something, or would you like to have that thing that Kay's talking about?
Yeah, no, I would.
Okay,
And then I think we did a tracking sheet on it too. You know, that,
it's a good one.
a tracking sheet. You know, it's like, okay, if I'm supposed to show 10 houses this week or this month or, you know, whatever. And then you can go back and kind of track your success, you know, like, no, I only showed 5 or I showed 20, or, you know, I was supposed to write 5 contracts and I wrote 10 or 1
Yeah.
or whatever. So, you know,
It's-
trying to keep you on track.
It's simple too. It's not complicated, which when you showed it to me the first time, Kay, the first thing I noticed was it's not a complicated thing. It's you can just go and do it and it's done. And that's a lot of it.
And then the really fun thing is that if you actually use it, you know, where I talk a lot and then, you know, I don't do what I'm supposed to do. So, you know, it'd be really cool if you actually use it.
Use it once it's done, right? But it will give you clarity
Right,
that you have that number.
yeah.
So for anybody, the homework for 2 weeks from now is find your number. Get close to your number of how many appointments do I need? And if anything else, that for the rest of the year, each month will help you. It'll help you on everything, because everything that you do, you'll be backing into, do I need to do that? Does that give me an appointment or not? All right, guys.
I have one more thing too.
Yes.
There was a list, you know, we were talking about different things to put on social media. There was a list that Remax put out, and it's like a monthly, it's a monthly calendar, but then it's like, tells like different days of the month, like, you know, this is International Pancake Day, or this is, you know, Popcorn Day, or this is, you know.
But gives you something to post.
Right.
Yeah.
And realtors are superhero days or something, you know, I mean, just try to.
Sean did one this morning.
Yeah.
Some Star Wars thing.
Yeah, May the 4th be with you.
That's it.
That's a big deal on May 4th, guys.
Tomorrow,
Cinco de Mayo tomorrow, yes.
Cinco de Mayo. put 5 bottles of mayo, right? Take a picture of that.
Oh, that's cute.
Sorry, guys, I was late. My 9 a.m. turned out to be longer than I anticipated, so I apologize to you guys. You know, I don't like missing these things.
God, it was so good too. I mean, I was on fire.
Dude, I hate missing a great meeting, guys.
He has never-
Larry McNamara, those on deck. Look at him. I haven't seen this guy on a video in a while. That's why I'm glad and
Hey,
excited to
Larry.
see you here. All right. Well, good. If I obviously if I can answer any questions, I can. But I mean, you tore it up, Brian. You
Oh, it was
took
unreal. Was it unreal, guys?
It was unreal.
Love it.
Best
Alright.
ever.
Best ever.
Best
Love it.
ever.
Love it. Love it. All right.
All right, guys. And I'll send out that, everybody, so you can get to your number. How many appointments do I need? And then that'll get you to a little bit more clarity for each month. All right, cool. Good seeing everybody. Be good.
Thank you, Brent.
Thanks, man.
You guys.
Guys.